Astronauts have discovered a lot of unsettling things over the years that may make you wish that you lived in a protective bubble where nothing can harm you. I'm Melissa Bellotti, your host, and here are your top 10 unsettling astronaut discoveries that made them quit NASA. In our number 10 spot, we have Robin Kulin. Okay, this is a mysterious one to me. Robin Kulin was an astronaut in training at NASA and was in a special 2-year program. He outbeat 18,300 applicants and had many years of schooling and expertise to do so. So hence the reason it was such a shock for the world to learn that he just quit after a little more than a year. According to a NASA spokesperson, it was for personal reasons. Look, I've seen the movies. More than likely, knowing that NASA doesn't have a high turnover rate, Robin more than likely did not quit NASA for personal reasons. We need to get the internet detectives on this case. Did he find out a secret that disturbed him so much that he had to quit? Did he discover that they are really keeping aliens at Area 51? Who knows? My vote is for the latter. Coming up at our number 9 spot, we have Mayday. Not specifically NASA, but an interesting story to note from another very awesome astronaut. You may not know this, but South Korea had its very first astronaut go to space in 2008, and it was a very big deal for them. Astronaut Yi So-yin was South Korea's first and only astronaut to quit her job, but for, in my opinion, a very good reason. While on her journey home from space, she was going to find out that it would be far from smooth. She discovered that she was veering off course, which, as you can imagine, was completely scary, even though spaceships tend to be slightly off course most of the time. But in any case, they did land safely. Hooray, but they landed 260 miles off course near some shepherds in Kazakhstan. The people of the village thought that they were aliens. Even though she made history, she eventually ended up quitting and decided to go back to school in California. Imagine going out into space and then coming home and deciding to do something else. Damn, that's a life lived. In our number 8 spot, we have black holes. Black holes are fascinating. If you haven't heard of a black hole before, well, just know that they are some of the strangest and most fascinating objects in space. They're, quote, extremely dense with such a strong gravitational attraction that not even light can escape their grasp. Apparently, the Milky Way could contain over 100 million black holes, and that was where one of the first black holes was discovered in 1964. It was called Cygnus X1. NASA and Space.com have reported that, quote, astronomers saw the first signs of the black hole when a sounding rocket detected celestial sources of X-rays. In 1971, astronomers determined that the X-rays were coming from a bright blue star orbiting a strange dark object. It was suggested that the detected X-rays were a result of stellar material being stripped away from the bright star and gobbled up by the dark object, an all-consuming black hole. Yeah, that's not terrifying. I would probs quit after learning about this. In our number 7 spot, we have aliens. There has been an increasing amount of aerial phenomena, as NASA puts it, otherwise known as UFOs, in the last while, and so NASA has actually announced the assemblage of a team of scientists that will be examining this phenomena. Hooray! NASA said the focus will be on identifying available data, which is the best way to gather future data, and how it can use this information to advance scientific understanding of the issue. The chief of NASA's science unit, Thomas Zurbuchen, has said, quote, we're looking at the Earth in new ways, and we're also looking the other way, at the sky, in new ways. What we're really trying to do here is start an investigation without an outcome in mind. Well, at least they finally admit to aliens possibly existing, and all the conspiracy theorists of the world can say to the people that downplayed all of the evidence, told ya. In our number 6 spot, we have space music. This is allegedly from the Apollo 10 mission to space. The astronauts were checking out various equipment to see what would work in space. Of course, the stakes were high because they were actually in space, and who knows if the equipment might blow up or whatnot. But apparently, when they put on headphones connected to a speaker they were testing, they heard a strange whistling sound. They were so amused and a little unsettled by this strange music that they later called it space music. In our number 5 spot, we have the space fire. Apparently, astronaut Jerry Leininger, who was stationed on the Mir space station, was just having his dinner when suddenly he discovered an extra tank of oxygen-based chemicals catch fire. Leininger said, quote, "It was a hot fire burning out of control." Apparently the fire was blocking one of the Soyuz ships that the team would have had to board in order to evacuate, so had they not put the fire out, somebody would have been left behind. Yikes, well that's a little unsettling. Thankfully, they did. In our number 4 spot, we have the floating animal corpses. The thought of this is literally horrific, as I am obsessed with animals and refuse to kill even an ant, but hearing this isn't that surprising, as apparently the first living things sent to space were a monkey and a dog. Those poor babies probably had no idea what was happening until they eventually starved to death, which is just sad. Anyways, hearing this shouldn't then surprise you to hear that the corpse of the dog and monkey can be seen floating in space. Imagine seeing that and then having to go on doing what you're doing. God. My heart hurts. Yeah, if it wasn't already obvious that I'll never be an astronaut, well, I definitely won't be one now, knowing that I may have to stumble across this. In our number 3 spot, we have shiny objects. This story is slightly unsettling, but also kind of makes you excited for future astronaut discoveries. Apparently, one of NASA's astronauts by the name of Alan Bean has claimed that he saw a really shiny object on the moon. When he was asked to describe it, he said that it looked like shoe leather. You usually would assume that anything from outer space is gray or black, so to hear that there's something shiny just hanging out on the moon is so interesting. It reminds me of that kid's book where that one fish was really sparkly, the rainbow fish. Loved that book. They were never able to learn anything more, but could this be the moon's version of a diamond? Probably. In our number 2 spot, we have "They're watching us." Allegedly, when Neil Armstrong landed on the moon in 1969, it is said that NASA lost transmission for about 2 minutes. Apparently, during those 2 minutes, there was a secret message to NASA that said, "Those babies were huge, sir. Enormous. Oh God, you won't believe it. I'm telling you, there are other spacecrafts out here lined up on the far side of the crater's edge. They're on the moon watching us." Whoa. Okay, well, I am now a believer in the fact that I'm sure they did not lose transmission, and I'm sure NASA only said that so that the general employees and people watching could not hear what needed to be said. Finally, in our number 1 spot, we have a fleet of UFOs. Apparently, astronaut Gordon Cooper witnessed the most crazy thing in human history, in my opinion. Proof that our future could potentially be Star Wars in real life. He saw a fleet of UFOs. That's right. He claims to have seen it around the time he flew the Air Force. What's wild is that about 10 years later, he'd bear witness to another UFO. Also the luckiest man in history. Allegedly, in 1963, a UFO flew towards him. Apparently, it was picked up on a radar too, which confirms the proof of existence and Gordon's story. Whoa. Fun fact, I once saw a floating light in the sky, and then I saw it literally zoom away at lightning speed, not lying, so I'm pretty sure I also have seen a UFO. Anyways guys, thanks so much for watching. I'm Melissa Melotti, your host. You can follow me on Insta and YouTube at Melissa Melotti. I hope you have a good day.